Wyoming is a realm defined by its staggering scale, where the sky dominates the senses and the land unfolds in an unbroken sweep to every horizon. Here, the prairie stretches endlessly, a living ocean of grass that ripples beneath the wind, interrupted only by the faint silhouettes of distant mountain ranges. From above, the wilderness appears untouched and immense, a patchwork of rugged terrain and open spaces where the presence of humanity is all but invisible. Unlike the dense cityscapes found elsewhere, Wyoming's countryside is a study in openness, where the land transitions from rolling fields to wild, unbroken expanses. Covering more territory than the entire United Kingdom, Wyoming's boundaries encompass a vastness that is difficult to comprehend. Yet across this immense area, signs of habitation are rare, and the land remains largely unaltered by human hands. At dawn, empty roads cut through the landscape, illuminated by the first light, revealing a world where silence reigns and the only movement is the shifting of shadows. Wildlife, such as pronghorn antelope, roam freely across the grasslands, their presence a reminder of the land's wild and undisturbed character. Settlements are few and far between, often separated by vast tracts of open fields and rolling hills, emphasizing the state's extraordinary isolation. The sheer scale of the land is humbling. Each square kilometer is a broad canvas of earth and sky, often untouched by human presence. In contrast to the crowded parks and bustling squares of the world's cities, Wyoming's spaces are defined by their emptiness and tranquility. Even where life exists, it is scattered. Distances between living creatures are measured in hundreds of meters, not feet. The landscape itself dictates a life of solitude and endurance, where survival depends on adapting to the land's relentless openness. Highways stretch for dozens of miles without interruption, traversing open country where the only landmarks are distant buttes and the occasional stand of wind-bent trees. Each journey across Wyoming is a passage through time as much as space, the landscape largely unchanged since the days when bison roamed these plains. The terrain is a mosaic of environments, broad grasslands, dense forests clinging to mountain slopes, and stark rocky outcrops. The plains are immense and flat, their horizons so distant they seem to curve with the earth, evoking the ancient grasslands that once blanketed the continent. High basins form natural amphitheaters, their gentle slopes rising to meet the sky, bordered by mountain ranges that loom like silent sentinels. The mountains themselves are formidable, jagged peaks of ancient stone, their summits often shrouded in cloud, standing as monuments to the Earth's geologic history. Much of Wyoming is semi-arid, its soils thin and rocky, supporting only the hardiest of plants. Sagebrush, bunchgrass, and scattered wildflowers. In some regions, rainfall is so scarce that the ground cracks open, and the air carries the scent of dust and sun-baked earth. The overwhelming sense of space is Wyoming's signature, an emptiness that is not a void, but a vast canvas for the forces of nature. The horizon is always distant, always beckoning, drawing the eye across miles of open land, toward the faint outline of mountains or the shimmer of heat on the plain. In this immense setting, even the largest creatures seem small, dwarfed by the scale of the land and sky. The absence of barriers, fences, walls, or even trees creates a sense of limitless freedom, where the land seems to go on forever. At sunrise, the plains are bathed in golden light, the air crisp and clear, revealing every subtle contour of the land. The silence here is profound, broken only by the whisper of wind through sagebrush or the distant cry of an eagle circling high above. As the sun sets, the land glows with a quiet intensity, shadows stretching across the wild terrain, a final reminder of Wyoming's vast, unyielding emptiness and the enduring beauty found in its solitude. One of Wyoming's most remarkable attributes is the sheer expanse of its publicly owned lands. stretching across the horizon in every direction, untouched by urban sprawl or agricultural development. These protected areas form a vast mosaic of habitats: sagebrush steppe, alpine meadows, dense coniferous forests, and sweeping grasslands, each supporting a unique web of life. Within these sanctuaries, entire ecosystems operate on a scale rarely seen elsewhere, allowing native species to interact, migrate, and adapt as they have for millennia, largely undisturbed by human interference. This dedication to conservation has preserved Wyoming as one of the last strongholds of ecological integrity in the lower 48 states, where natural processes still shape the land. Here, the wild is not confined to isolated pockets. It stretches unbroken across mountains, forests, and plains, forming a living tapestry where nature's rhythms dictate the pace of life. This uninterrupted wilderness grants animals the freedom to traverse immense distances, following ancient instincts and seasonal cues. Wyoming is renowned for hosting some of the world's most spectacular large mammal migrations, where herds of elk and pronghorns sweep across the plains in synchronized movement. Pronghorn antelope, elk, and mule deer travel along time-honored corridors, their routes etched into the landscape by generations of passage, guided by memory and environmental signals. These epic journeys can span over 100 kilometers, as animals descend from alpine summer ranges to sheltered winter valleys, navigating forests, rivers, and open grasslands along the way. Migration is a matter of survival. Herds must locate fresh grazing grounds and avoid deep snows, relying on their endurance and knowledge of the land to sustain them through harsh winters. Wyoming's vast open spaces preserve these critical migration corridors, allowing wildlife to move unimpeded across the landscape, maintaining genetic diversity and healthy populations. The sheer scale of these migrations is awe-inspiring. Ribbons of animals threading through valleys and over ridges, a living river of movement that defines the wild character of the region. Picture an elk herd navigating dense forests, fording icy rivers, and crossing windswept plains, each step a testament to their resilience and the interconnectedness of Wyoming's habitats. Unlike many regions fragmented by barriers, Wyoming's landscape remains largely unfenced, enabling wildlife to follow their natural routes without artificial hindrance. These migrations weave together distant parts of the state, linking mountain peaks to lowland basins in a continuous cycle that sustains both the land and its inhabitants. Wyoming's habitats form a seamless network, where wildlife is not a fleeting presence, but an essential, enduring part of the ecosystem, shaping and being shaped by the land itself. This freedom of movement fosters extraordinary biodiversity, supporting everything from vast herds of ungulates to elusive predators and countless smaller creatures. Apex predators such as grizzly bears, wolves, and mountain lions roam these wild expanses, their presence regulating prey populations and maintaining ecological balance. The survival of these top predators is a testament to the health of Wyoming's ecosystems, where natural cycles of predation and renewal continue largely undisturbed. In this vast wilderness, intricate behaviors unfold. Wolves coordinate hunts, bears forage for roots and berries, and herds respond to subtle changes in weather and season. Wyoming's public lands are the living foundation for these natural dramas, sustaining a vibrant web of life and ensuring that the untamed spirit of the American West endures in its most authentic form. The essence of Wyoming is etched not only in its vast open spaces, but also in the relentless forces of wind and cold that have sculpted its terrain for millennia. The weather here is dramatic and often unforgiving, with powerful systems sweeping across the plains and mountains, leaving a lasting imprint on the land. Wyoming ranks among the windiest regions in North America, where persistent high-velocity winds are a defining feature of the environment. These are not mere breezes, but formidable currents that shape the very character of the landscape, bending trees into permanent sculptures and stripping away weaker vegetation. Average wind speeds frequently surpass 20 kilometers per hour, with gusts that can reach hurricane force, especially in exposed areas and mountain passes. Over centuries, this ceaseless wind has carved intricate patterns into sandstone outcrops, sculpted hoodoos, and created sweeping dunes of snow and sand. The wind's presence is constant, audible in the rustle of prairie grasses and visible in the undulating waves that ripple across the plains. Harnessing this abundant resource, Wyoming has become a leader in wind energy, with vast wind farms dotting the horizon and transforming the state into a hub for renewable power. Towering turbines, engineered to withstand the region's fierce gusts, convert the kinetic energy of the wind into electricity, providing a sustainable future for the state. These modern giants stand sentinel on the rolling hills, their blades sweeping gracefully through the air, a testament to human ingenuity adapting to the natural world. The integration of wind energy into Wyoming's landscape is a fitting tribute to one of its most abundant and enduring natural forces. Structures old and new bear the marks of the wind, from weathered barns to the sleek lines of turbines, each telling a story of adaptation and resilience. Beyond the wind, Wyoming's climate is notorious for its extremes, with sudden and severe changes that can transform the landscape in moments. Winters are marked by intense cold, as Arctic air masses descend rapidly, blanketing the land in frost and ice. Temperature swings of 30 degrees Celsius within hours are not uncommon, as frigid fronts sweep across the plains, catching the landscape in their grip. Blizzards can arise with little warning, reducing visibility to near zero and transforming open country into a world of swirling white. The cold and wind combine to create deep drifts, sculpting the snow into waves and ridges that can persist for weeks. Wildlife must adapt to these harsh conditions, with native species like bison and elk evolving thick coats and migratory behaviors to survive the long, bitter winters. The winter's severity shapes the ecosystem, influencing migration patterns, breeding cycles, and the very survival of flora and fauna. In the mountains, deep snowpack accumulates, acting as a natural reservoir that stores water for the coming year. As spring arrives, the gradual melt releases life-giving water into rivers and streams, sustaining the plains and valleys below. This annual cycle nourishes the soil, supports lush grasslands, and provides essential hydration for wildlife and vegetation. The cold that makes winter so formidable is also the source of renewal, ensuring that even the driest summer months are sustained by the legacy of winter's snow. In this way, the extremes of wind and cold are not merely obstacles, but fundamental forces that shape the land, sustain its ecosystems, and define the enduring spirit of Wyoming's wild and beautiful terrain. Beneath Wyoming's rugged, wind-carved surface, a hidden force pulses with relentless energy, an immense reservoir of geological heat, shaping the land in ways both subtle and spectacular. Wyoming stands as one of North America's most geologically dynamic regions, where the restless earth reveals its power in a tapestry of geothermal marvels. In these wild expanses, the planet's crust thins dramatically, sometimes to just a few kilometers, allowing the planet's inner heat to surge close to the surface. Unlike the thick, stable crust found elsewhere, Wyoming's crust is fractured and delicate, a gateway for the Earth's molten energy to escape. Here, the ground itself breathes, steam seeps from fissures, and the soil radiates warmth, a constant reminder of the fiery world below. The landscape is sculpted by this underground fire, giving rise to an astonishing array of geothermal features, each more unique and vibrant than the last. Delicate terraces of silica and travertine build up over centuries, their edges etched by mineral-rich waters that shimmer with iridescent hues. Pools of boiling turquoise water are rimmed with brilliant bands of orange, yellow, and green, colors created by heat-loving microbes thriving in the scalding runoff. Some springs are so clear and deep that they appear bottomless, their crystalline waters reflecting the sky while steam drifts in ghostly veils above. bubbling mud pots churn with thick, grey clay, their surfaces alive with the constant popping and hissing of escaping gases. Fumaroles vent plumes of steam and volcanic gases, staining the barren ground with vivid streaks of sulfur, iron, and other minerals. Even in the depths of winter, geothermal heat melts snow in intricate patterns, creating ribbons of open water and frost-lined banks where steam lingers in the frigid air. Around the springs, mineral deposits form fantastical shapes, rings, terraces, and spires, each layer a record of centuries of chemical artistry. The grand prismatic spring, a colossal pool of swirling rainbow colors, stands as a testament to the interplay of heat, water, and life, its vivid bands visible even from the sky. Water trickles over terraces, depositing minerals in delicate, lace-like patterns that glisten in the shifting light. Geysers erupt with sudden explosive force, sending columns of superheated water and steam high into the air, each eruption a dramatic display of the Earth's inner pressure. Across vast basins, steam drifts in ever-changing patterns, veiling the land in mystery and hinting at the restless energy below. Over time, these features evolve, mineral formations grow, pools shift in color and shape, and new vents open as the ground subtly moves. Towering peaks rise above valleys veined with steam, the mountains themselves shaped by the same forces that fuel the geothermal wonders below. Every bubbling spring and steaming vent is a window into the planet's fiery heart, a reminder of the immense power that lies just beneath our feet. Wyoming's geothermal landscapes are a living canvas, ancient, ever-changing, and utterly unique, where the Earth's creative and destructive forces are on full, breathtaking display. In the northwest corner of Wyoming lies a place where the Earth's restless energy is on full display, Yellowstone National Park. Beneath its sweeping forests and meadows, a vast volcanic system simmers, its colossal caldera the silent architect of the park's dramatic terrain. Here, the ground itself breathes, exhaling clouds of steam through countless vents and fissures. These steam vents, or fumaroles, are among the park's most enigmatic features. Unlike geysers, which erupt in spectacular bursts, fumaroles hiss and whisper, releasing superheated gases and water vapor directly from the Earth's crust. The air around them is thick with the scent of minerals and the faint tang of sulfur, a reminder of the molten world below. At Mammoth Hot Springs, the interplay of heat, water, and minerals creates a living sculpture. Hot water, saturated with calcium carbonate, seeps up from deep underground, flowing over the terraces in thin, glistening sheets. As it cools, the mineral is deposited, building intricate formations of travertine that shift and grow with each passing season. The terraces are a canvas for nature's palette. Vivid bands of orange, white, and brown trace the flow of water, their hues shaped by heat-loving microorganisms called thermophils. These resilient life forms thrive in the scalding runoff, their colonies forming intricate patterns that shift with temperature and chemistry, painting the landscape in ever-changing designs. Across the park, steam vents punctuate the Earth, some hidden in quiet meadows, others clustered in vast geothermal basins. Each vent is a window into the planet's interior, where rainwater seeps down, is superheated by magma, and returns to the surface as vapor. The constant release of steam shapes the soil and stone, etching delicate mineral crusts and leaving behind fantastical formations. In the upper geyser basin, the interplay of pressure and heat gives rise to geysers like Old Faithful, but it is the quieter vents that reveal the park's ceaseless dynamism. Here, the ground is alive with subtle movement. Cracks widen, new vents appear, and old ones fade, all shaped by the shifting forces below. The Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone is another testament to geothermal artistry. Steam rises from vents along the canyon walls, mingling with the mist of waterfalls and the roar of the river below. The heat and minerals from these vents have stained the rock in brilliant yellows, reds, and whites, their colors deepened by the oxidation of iron and other elements. The canyon's sheer walls, plunging over 300 meters, are a geological tapestry. Each layer tells a story of ancient eruptions, relentless erosion, and the transformative power of heat and water. The interplay of steam, minerals, and time has created a landscape that is both ancient and ever-renewing. In Yellowstone, the world of steam and wonder is a living laboratory where geology, chemistry, and biology converge in a spectacle of constant transformation. Every vent, every terrace, every painted canyon wall is a testament to the restless creativity of the earth itself. Just south of Yellowstone's geothermal marvels, the landscape transforms dramatically into the rugged grandeur of Grand Teton National Park. Here, the Earth's restless energy and the relentless force of ancient glaciers have sculpted a masterpiece of stone and ice. The Teton Range rises with astonishing abruptness, its jagged peaks thrusting skyward without the gentle transition of foothills. This stark elevation change is the result of a dramatic geological fault, where the Earth's crust has been forced upward over millennia. In some places, the mountains soar more than 2,100 meters above the valley floor, forming sheer cliffs and imposing rock faces. These are among the youngest mountains in North America, their youth revealed in their sharp, angular profiles and exposed fault lines. The Teton's dramatic shapes are not only the result of tectonic uplift, but also the handiwork of glaciers. During the last ice age, colossal rivers of ice advanced and retreated, grinding and sculpting the landscape with immense power. These glaciers carved deep, U-shaped valleys, etched razor-sharp ridges, and left behind pointed horns, classic signatures of glacial activity. The raw, rugged terrain is a living record of these icy sculptors. As the climate warmed and the glaciers retreated, they deposited vast moraines, ridges of rock and debris across the landscape. Polished rock faces gleam in the sunlight, bearing the marks of ancient ice. In the wake of the glaciers, deep basins filled with meltwater, forming pristine alpine lakes. Jenny Lake, one of the park's most iconic, was created when a massive block of glacial ice became stranded and was later dammed by a moraine, eventually melting to fill the depression with crystal-clear water. Today, Jenny Lake is renowned for its remarkable clarity and depth, reaching over 75 meters. Its tranquil surface mirrors the towering peaks, creating a scene of breathtaking symmetry and serenity. The contrast between the flat, sagebrush-dotted valley floor and the abrupt granite spires above is striking. The lake's calm, reflective waters stand in stark opposition to the wild, jagged summits that loom overhead. The interplay of fire and ice, tectonic forces from deep within the earth, and the relentless sculpting of glaciers has created a landscape of extraordinary drama and beauty. Every rock face, every valley, and every shimmering lake tells a story of powerful natural forces at work. The Tetons stand as a testament to the ongoing evolution of our planet, a place where the evidence of ancient cataclysms and the artistry of ice are written into every contour of the land. In Wyoming's mountains, born of fire and ice, one finds not only geological wonder, but also a profound sense of awe at the forces that continue to shape the world around us. Nestled between the towering Teton Range to the west and the rolling Gros Ventre Range to the east lies a broad, flat valley known as Jackson Hole. This valley is not just a stunningly beautiful place, it serves as a lifeline for the region's wildlife, forming one of the most significant ecological corridors in North America. Stretching for roughly 90 kilometers from north to south, Jackson Hole acts as a vital artery, a natural highway that enables the free movement of countless animal species across the landscape. For millennia, this valley has been a key migration route for some of North America's most iconic animals, including vast herds of elk, bison, and pronghorn antelope. The corridor supports a remarkable diversity of wildlife, from the stealthy mule deer weaving through sagebrush to the elusive coyote patrolling the open plains, all relying on the valley's connectivity for survival. The valley floor, with its winding Snake River and vast expanses of sagebrush and grasslands, forms a mosaic of habitats, riparian woodlands, wetlands, and open meadows, each providing essential resources for different species throughout the year. In the summer, Jackson Hole transforms into a lush and fertile sanctuary. Herds of elk, bison, and pronghorn graze in the meadows, while their young calves and fawns find shelter and nourishment in the tall grasses and wildflowers. As the seasons shift, the valley's role becomes even more critical. The landscape undergoes a dramatic transformation, signaling the start of ancient migratory journeys. When winter's deep snows descend upon the high country, Jackson Hole becomes a sanctuary, its lower elevations offering shelter and sustenance when the mountains become inhospitable. The valley's open terrain and milder conditions make it a critical wintering ground for thousands of elk, which descend from the surrounding mountains and Yellowstone National Park to find food and refuge. The spectacle of migration, herds moving in unison across the snow-dusted valley floor, is one of the most awe-inspiring natural events in the American West. Among these journeys, the migration of the pronghorn antelope stands out as a marvel of endurance and instinct. These swift and graceful animals travel hundreds of kilometers, following a route that is among the longest remaining overland migrations in the continental United States, traversing open sagebrush flats and grasslands. The uninterrupted open spaces of Jackson Hole are essential for these migrations, allowing animals to complete their ancient pilgrimage without barriers. Beyond the large mammals, the corridor is alive with other species. Sage grouse perform their elaborate spring dances, while red foxes hunt quietly in the tall grass, all benefiting from the valley's protected passageways. Raptors like bald eagles soar above the Snake River, scanning for prey, while river otters slip through the water, thriving in the healthy riparian zones that the corridor sustains. Moose browse in dense willow thickets, and beavers engineer wetlands along the riverbanks, further enriching the valley's biodiversity and supporting a complex web of life. Even the most elusive predators, mountain lions and bobcats, depend on the corridor's connectivity, using it to hunt, disperse, and maintain healthy populations. The preservation of these vast, unbroken grasslands is vital, ensuring that wildlife can move freely, adapt to changing conditions, and maintain genetic diversity across generations. Wyoming's wildlife corridors, exemplified by Jackson Hole, are living arteries of the wild, dynamic, resilient, and irreplaceable. They connect ecosystems, sustain ancient migrations, and safeguard the future of the region's extraordinary biodiversity, standing as a testament to the enduring power and beauty of the natural world. Beyond the iconic expanses of Yellowstone and the Tetons, Wyoming reveals a dramatic geological narrative written in stone and time. Here, the land is sculpted by forces both ancient and ongoing, where monumental towers of rock and labyrinthine canyons bear witness to the planet's restless creativity. In the far northeast, Devil's Tower rises abruptly from the rolling prairie, its sheer presence a testament to the extraordinary processes that shape the Earth's crust. This monolithic formation, standing 386 meters above the surrounding grasslands, commands the horizon with its imposing silhouette. The tower's fluted sides are defined by striking vertical columns, hexagonal in cross-section, formed as molten rock cooled and contracted deep underground. These columns, some nearly perfectly geometric, create a visual rhythm that is both alien and mesmerizing, unlike any other landform in North America. Devil's Tower is not a volcano, but rather the exposed core of an ancient igneous intrusion. Millions of years ago, magma surged upward from the Earth's mantle, forcing its way into overlying sedimentary layers. Trapped beneath the surface, the magma cooled slowly, crystallizing into dense phonolite porphyry. Over eons, Relentless erosion by wind, rain, and freeze-thaw cycles stripped away the softer sedimentary rock, gradually unveiling the tower's formidable core. Today, Devil's Tower stands isolated, a geological sentinel whose origins are etched in every groove and column. The surrounding landscape is a tapestry of volcanic remnants and sedimentary layers, each telling a chapter of Wyoming's deep past. The tower's base is littered with talus, broken columns that have fallen over millennia, while the nearby hills reveal the story of ancient seas and shifting continents. Far to the south, the land transforms again at Flaming Gorge, where the Green River has carved a spectacular canyon through uplifted rock. Here, the river's persistent flow has incised deep chasms, exposing striated cliffs that glow with vivid reds and oranges. The gorge's walls, rising over 300 meters, are composed of sedimentary strata laid down during the age of dinosaurs and later thrust upward by tectonic forces. Each layer records a different epoch, from ancient riverbeds to desert dunes, now revealed in cross-section by the river's patient work. At sunrise and sunset, the canyon's cliffs ignite with color, their mineral-rich surfaces reflecting gold, crimson, and ochre hues. The interplay of light and shadow transforms the landscape into a living canvas, ever-changing with the angle of the sun. The Green River, a powerful sculptor, continues to shape the gorge, its turquoise waters winding through the canyon's depths. Over millions of years, the river has cut through resistant quartzite and softer shales, creating a dynamic landscape of sheer walls, terraces, and hidden alcoves. The construction of Flaming Gorge Dam has introduced a vast reservoir, flooding the canyon floor and creating a striking juxtaposition of arid desert and deep blue water. The reservoir's shoreline traces the ancient contours of the gorge, while the lake's surface mirrors the fiery cliffs above. The contrast between the crystalline lake and the rugged, mineral-stained canyon walls is visually arresting, highlighting the interplay between water and stone that defines this region. Together, Devil's Tower and Flaming Gorge exemplify the diversity and grandeur of Wyoming's geology. One is born of subterranean fire and slow crystallization, the other of relentless river erosion and tectonic uplift. Both stand as enduring monuments to the forces that have shaped and continue to shape the American West, offering a glimpse into the planet's profound and ongoing transformation. Wyoming's wild, sweeping landscapes are legendary, but nestled within this vastness are towns and cities that serve as vital outposts of civilization. Each settlement is a testament to human ingenuity and adaptability, shaped by the demands of the land and the challenges of isolation. These communities are compact and enduring, their architecture and layout reflecting both the necessity of self-reliance and the influence of the surrounding environment. Buildings are often constructed to withstand harsh winters and relentless winds, while main streets remain the heart of local commerce and culture. In the northwest, Cody stands as a prominent gateway to Yellowstone National Park, its location chosen for strategic access to the region's natural wonders. The town's grid is oriented to maximize views of the Absaroka Mountains, and its infrastructure is designed to accommodate the influx of visitors drawn by the park's proximity. Founded by the legendary Buffalo Bill Cody, the town was meticulously planned to serve as a logistical hub for expeditions, supply routes, and the burgeoning tourism industry. Its historic buildings, many preserved from the early 20th century, echo the ambitions of its founder and the enduring spirit of the frontier. Cody's identity is deeply intertwined with the mythology of the American West. The town hosts renowned rodeos and houses museums dedicated to Western heritage, preserving artifacts and stories that chronicle the evolution of the region from untamed wilderness to settled community. To the east, Cheyenne rises from the open plains as Wyoming's capital. Its urban plan reflects its origins as a railroad town with broad avenues and prominent civic buildings that symbolize its role as a center of governance and commerce. Cheyenne's foundation was laid during the era of westward expansion, when the Transcontinental Railroad carved a path across the continent. The town's historic rail infrastructure remains a defining feature, linking it to a legacy of movement and transformation. As a critical junction, Cheyenne developed into a transportation nexus, facilitating the flow of goods and people across the high plains. Its rail yards and highways continue to serve as arteries of connection, vital to the state's economic vitality. Unlike towns sheltered by mountains, Cheyenne is exposed to the full force of the prairie's elements. Its skyline is defined by the interplay of open sky and sweeping grasslands, a visual reminder of the city's resilience in the face of nature's extremes. The wind, a constant companion, shapes both the landscape and the built environment. Structures are engineered to withstand gusts that sweep unimpeded across the plains, and the city's layout takes into account the need for shelter and durability. Cheyenne's role as a hub extends beyond transportation. Communication towers and infrastructure link remote communities, ensuring that even the most isolated areas remain connected to the broader world. Towns like Cody and Cheyenne are carefully integrated into their surroundings, designed to harmonize with the vastness rather than dominate it. Their footprints are modest, allowing the wild landscape to remain the defining feature. At night, these towns become beacons of light, their glow visible for miles across the open prairie. The isolation is profound, with each settlement standing as a solitary outpost in a sea of darkness. The roads that connect these towns traverse immense distances, often passing through landscapes that appear untouched by human activity. The journey itself is a reminder of Wyoming's scale and the enduring presence of wilderness. These towns serve as logistical centers for the stewardship of the land. From supporting large-scale ranching operations to facilitating scientific research and conservation efforts, they are essential to the sustainable management of Wyoming's natural resources. Intersections and crossroads mark points of convergence, where the paths of travelers, goods, and ideas intersect before dispersing once more into the wild expanse. The relationship between settlement and wilderness is one of careful balance. Towns are positioned to minimize their impact, preserving the integrity of the surrounding ecosystems while providing necessary services and infrastructure. Each community is defined by determination and adaptability, shaped by the demands of the environment and the necessity of cooperation in remote settings. Wildlife corridors and migration routes are carefully considered in town planning, ensuring that the movement of animals remains unimpeded and that the coexistence of human and natural systems is maintained. Cultural life flourishes in these towns, with festivals, museums, and public spaces celebrating both local heritage and the enduring connection to the land. The transition from settlement to wilderness is often abrupt, with the built environment giving way to open plains or rugged mountains within a matter of steps. This proximity underscores the ever-present influence of the wild. Ultimately, Wyoming's towns are footholds on the edge of the unknown, places where civilization meets the untamed and where the enduring spirit of the West continues to shape both land and community. Beyond Wyoming's well-known peaks and sweeping plains lie secret worlds, hidden valleys cradled in silence and solitude. These secluded basins are carved by ancient glaciers and sculpted by millennia of slow erosion, their contours concealed by ridges and forests, invisible to all but the most persistent explorer. Here, the land folds upon itself, creating lush pockets shielded from the harshest winds and extremes of the open prairie. Narrow entrances, guarded by stands of aspen and lodgepole pine, reveal sudden expanses of verdant meadow, where wildflowers blanket the ground in springtime and crystal-clear streams wind between mossy stones. Each valley is a tapestry of microclimates. The air is cooler and moist, nurturing ferns and delicate lichens rarely seen elsewhere in Wyoming. Cottonwoods and willows cluster along the banks, their roots anchored deep in the fertile soil, while groves of spruce and fir cloak the upper slopes, providing refuge for elusive wildlife. Mist lingers in the early morning, rising from hidden ponds where beaver lodges stand as silent testaments to industrious inhabitants. Mule deer and elk graze in the quiet dawn, emerging from the shadows to browse the tender shoots that flourish in these sheltered enclaves. Overhead, the call of a red-tailed hawk echoes from soaring cliffs, while trout dart through shaded pools, their scales flashing in dappled sunlight. The valleys are shaped by water, seasonal torrents that carve channels through soft earth, leaving behind gravel bars and oxbows, and gentle springs that seep from fractured bedrock, sustaining life through the driest months. Fallen logs and boulders draped in emerald moss serve as bridges and sanctuaries for small mammals and amphibians. In autumn, the valleys ignite with color. Groves of aspen turn gold, their leaves trembling in the breeze, contrasting with the deep evergreens. The scent of damp earth and decaying leaves fills the air as migrating birds pause to rest in this sheltered haven before continuing their journey south. These hidden valleys are isolated ecosystems shaped by their own rules. Here, predator and prey, plant and pollinator exist in delicate equilibrium, untouched by roads, fences, or the hum of human activity. The silence is profound, broken only by the soft rustle of wind through grass and the distant rush of water. In winter, deep snow blankets the valleys, softening every contour. The world becomes hushed, and only the faint tracks of fox or snowshoe hare betray the presence of life beneath the frozen stillness. Icicles cling to overhanging rocks, glistening in the pale sunlight that filters through bare branches. Wyoming's hidden valleys are landscapes of rare tranquility, natural sanctuaries where time seems suspended and nature's processes unfold in quiet persistence. These secret places, concealed within the state's rugged heart, are the quiet soul of the wild, waiting to be discovered by those who seek the unseen. Deep within Wyoming's rugged expanse, beyond the reach of prairies and the shadows of mountain peaks, stand the ancient forests, timeless guardians rooted in stone and memory. These woodlands are living chronicles, their towering trunks and tangled understories, bearing silent witness to centuries of change and resilience. Here, the Engelmann spruce and subalpine fir ascend in dense ranks, their needles glistening with dew as dawn light filters through the canopy. Some of these giants have stood for hundreds, even thousands of years, weathering storms, drought, and fire. Their bark is thick and furrowed, etched with the marks of passing seasons and the silent passage of time. The forest floor is a mosaic of life. Thick carpets of moss enfold fallen logs, turning decay into fertile ground for new growth. Delicate wildflowers, columbine, lupine, and glacier lily, bloom in the fleeting sunlight that pierces the leafy ceiling. In the damp, shaded hollows, clusters of coral fungi and orange-capped mushrooms break through the leaf litter, recycling nutrients and sustaining intricate webs of life. Among the roots and low branches, the American marten slips silently, its russet fur blending with the dappled light. Snowshoe hares, masters of camouflage, pause to nibble tender shoots, ever alert for the silent wings of a northern goshawk gliding overhead. High above, the ancient forests echo with the rhythmic tapping of woodpeckers, searching for insects that burrow beneath the bark. In late summer, the forests thrum with hidden activity. Squirrels gather pine cones and cashew seeds in secret stores, while black bears forage for berries in sunlit clearings, fattening for the long winter ahead. Herds of elk move quietly through the shadows, their antlers weaving between the trunks, while porcupines gnaw on bark in the quiet dusk. These forests are shaped by cycles of fire and renewal. Lightning-sparked blazes sweep through at intervals, clearing old growth and releasing seeds from the cones of lodgepole pines. In the aftermath, wildflowers and saplings reclaim the ash-rich soil, beginning the slow process of regeneration. Over decades, the forest heals, its resilience born from disturbance, its diversity forged in adversity. Beneath the surface, a vast network of mycorrhizal fungi connects the roots of trees, exchanging nutrients and sustaining the woodland community. This hidden web, older than any single tree, is the silent architect of the forest's endurance, a living testament to cooperation and balance. As night falls, the ancient woods come alive with new sounds. The haunting call of a great grey owl floats between the trunks, while the rustle of small feet in the undergrowth hints at unseen lives continuing their nightly rituals. Fireflies flicker in the darkness, their glow mirrored in the silvered needles of the tallest pines. Wyoming's ancient forests are more than mere collections of trees. They are dynamic, evolving worlds, shaped by the interplay of life and death, growth and decay. In their depths, every stone, leaf and shadow tells a story of persistence, adaptation, and the enduring power of nature. These timeless guardians stand watch over the land, their legacy etched in every ring, every root, and every whispered breeze. Carved by ancient glaciers and the relentless sculpting of wind and water, Wyoming's rivers and lakes are living arteries, flowing, shifting, and sustaining the wild heart of the land. From the snow-choked summits of the Wind River Range, meltwater gathers in crystalline trickles, weaving down through granite corridors to form the headwaters of mighty rivers. Here the Snake, the Green, and the North Platte begin their journey, each a thread in the tapestry of the state's hydrological legacy. These rivers trace the scars of vanished ice, following channels gouged by glaciers thousands of years ago. In spring, as the high country thaws, torrents race down mountain slopes, churning with silt and minerals. Rapids foam and crash over ancient boulders, sculpting deep pools and gravel bars where trout hover in the shadows, awaiting the drift of insect larvae. Over millennia, these persistent waters have carved canyons of staggering depth and beauty, their walls stained with the memory of floods and droughts. Wyoming's lakes are mirrors of sky and stone. Some, like Yellowstone Lake, fill volcanic calderas, vast basins left by cataclysmic eruptions. Others, such as Fremont and Jackson Lakes, are glacial relics, basins scoured by ice, then filled with the melt of retreating glaciers. Their waters shift with the seasons, crystal clear in late summer, veiled with mist on autumn mornings, and sealed beneath glassy ice as winter descends. Beneath the surface, life flourishes. Dense beds of aquatic plants sway in the gentle current, providing shelter for mayfly nymphs, caddisfly larvae, and the elusive stonefly. Cutthroat and rainbow trout patrol the cool depths, flashing silver and crimson in shafts of filtered light. Along pebbled shores, amphibians lay gelatinous ribbons of eggs, while waterfowl, canvasbacks, mergansers, and teal dabble and dive, their calls echoing across the stillness. The ecology of these waterscapes is a study in adaptation. Beavers engineer wetlands, their dams transforming swift streams into tranquil ponds that nurture willows, sedges, and a chorus of frogs. Dragonflies hunt over open water, their wings glinting in the sun, while muskrats weave labyrinthine lodges of reeds and mud along the margins. In the shallows, schools of minnows dart between submerged stones, evading the keen gaze of a great blue heron poised to strike. Each season brings transformation. In spring, swollen rivers spill across floodplains, replenishing riparian forests and depositing nutrient-rich silt. Summer's warmth draws forth a profusion of algae and plankton, feeding myriad invertebrates. Autumn brings cooling currents and the migration of fish upstream to spawn, their bodies glittering in low, golden light. When winter arrives, ice locks the lakes and rivers in silence. Beneath its surface, life slows but never ceases, awaiting the thaw. Wyoming's rivers and lakes are more than scenery. They are dynamic systems, shaped by geology, climate, and the ceaseless movement of water. Their ever-changing surfaces reflect the drama of the skies above, while below, intricate communities thrive in the shifting interplay of current, temperature and light. In every ripple and eddy, in every frozen shore and flooded meadow, these waterscapes tell the story of a land in perpetual motion, timeless, resilient, and alive. As the sun dips behind the serrated peaks and the last traces of daylight fade from the high plains, a profound transformation sweeps across Wyoming's wild horizons. Darkness settles in, deep and unbroken, revealing a celestial wilderness untouched by city lights or the blur of human motion, a vault of stars as ancient as the land itself. Here, in the heart of the American West, the night sky is a canvas of astonishing clarity. From the sagebrush basins of the Red Desert to the wind-scoured plateaus of the Bighorns, the firmament stretches wide and unobstructed, a dome of infinite depth. With the air crisp and dry and the elevation high, the stars ignite with rare brilliance. Constellations emerge in sharp relief. Orion's belt glitters above the snowfields, while Cassiopeia arches over silent forests, her W-shaped crown mirrored in a still mountain lake. On moonless nights, the Milky Way spills across the heavens, a luminous river of stardust arching from horizon to horizon. Its core pulses with the light of billions of distant suns, woven into intricate clouds and nebulae. The Andromeda Galaxy, a faint smudge with the naked eye, hovers just beyond the treetops, a silent neighbor spinning in the cosmic dark. In late summer, the Perseid meteor shower blazes overhead, streaks of fire carving ephemeral paths through the atmosphere. Each meteor, a grain of ancient comet dust, flares and vanishes in a heartbeat, illuminating the landscape with fleeting brilliance. In winter, the air sharpens and the stars seem to burn colder and bluer. Sirius, the dog star, throbs near the horizon, while the Pleiades cluster glimmers like a handful of diamonds cast across velvet. On some nights, the aurora borealis shimmers along the northern edge of the state, curtains of green and violet undulating above the Absaroka Range. Charged particles from distant solar storms dance along invisible magnetic lines, painting the sky in unearthly hues. Silent and ethereal, the aurora ripples above frost-laced grasslands and frozen rivers, its glow reflected in the eyes of nocturnal creatures hidden in the dark. Beneath this celestial dome, the natural world holds its breath. Coyotes pause mid-prowl, ears pricked to the silence. Owls glide between skeletal branches, their wings whispering in the starlit air. Even the wind seems to hush, as if in reverence for the night's unfolding spectacle. Time slows in the presence of such grandeur. Ancient rocks and weathered pines stand witness to cycles measured not in years, but in the slow drift of planets and the turning of cosmic seasons. The moon, in all her phases, rises over the Tetons, casting silver light across snowfields and illuminating the hidden crevices of canyon walls. Lunar halos ring her face, a fleeting reminder of ice crystals adrift in the upper atmosphere. In Wyoming, the night sky is more than backdrop. It is a living tapestry, woven with the light of galaxies, planets, and stars. A reminder that above these wild lands the universe unfolds in silent majesty, offering a glimpse of infinity to those who pause and look up. Beneath Wyoming's vast skies and rugged terrain lies a world shaped by forces almost inconceivable in their scale and power, a realm where time itself is etched into stone. Here, rare geological formations bear silent witness to the planet's restless evolution, revealing stories measured not in centuries, but in eons. In the heart of the northeastern plains rises Devil's Tower, a solitary monolith soaring 867 feet above the rolling grasslands. Composed of phonolite porphyry, this igneous intrusion formed deep underground as magma cooled slowly, its crystalline columns pressed together in near-perfect geometric symmetry. Erosion, relentless over millions of years, stripped away the softer sedimentary layers, exposing the tower's vertical fluting. a record of Earth's volcanic past frozen in time. Traveling west, the Absaroka volcanic province sprawls across the landscape, its rugged peaks and lava flows a testament to ancient eruptions that once rivaled the fury of modern volcanoes. Layers of volcanic breccia and tuff, interspersed with petrified forests, reveal a world where fire and ash sculpted entire mountains. Fossilized trees, their cellular structures preserved in silicate minerals, stand as mute sentinels of a vanished ecosystem, their growth rings chronicling cycles of eruption and regrowth. In the south, the Red Desert's Kilpecker sand dunes ripple across the horizon, one of North America's largest active dune fields. Unlike classic desert sands, these dunes shift and migrate under the persistent force of the wind, their forms ever-changing. Beneath the surface, ancient lakebeds and buried river channels record the ebb and flow of prehistoric waters, locked in layers of silt and clay. At the western edge, the fossil Butte National Monument preserves a limestone plateau rich with exquisitely detailed fossils. Here, a subtropical lake once teemed with life during the Eocene epoch. Over 50 million years, fine sediments entombed fish, reptiles and plants, capturing a moment of biodiversity now revealed in stone. Each fossil, from delicate palm fronds to the articulated skeletons of ancient garfish, offers a window into a climate and ecosystem long vanished from the earth. In the Wind River Basin, badlands unfurl in bands of ochre, grey and red, layer upon layer of sedimentary rock exposed by relentless erosion. These formations, known as the Morrison and Clovelly formations, are rich in dinosaur remains. Here the bones of Camarasaurus, Allosaurus and other giants are unearthed, their mineralized forms hinting at the teeming life that once roamed these floodplains. No less remarkable are the travertine terraces of Thermopolis. Fed by mineral-rich hot springs, these deposits build intricate, ever-growing structures of calcium carbonate. Water flows over the terraces in thin, glistening sheets, evaporating to leave behind crystalline patterns, living sculptures that shift and grow with each passing year. Wyoming's rare geological marvels are more than curiosities. They are archives of planetary history, etched in stone and mineral, shaped by fire, water, and time. In their silent presence, the land's deep past is written for those who look closely, an ever-unfolding chronicle of Earth's dynamic and restless heart. As the wheel of the year turns, Wyoming's wilderness undergoes a profound metamorphosis, each season sculpting the land anew, weaving cycles of renewal, abundance, and rest. In early spring, the last snows retreat across the foothills, their crystalline remnants feeding icy rivulets that braid through awakening meadows. Sagebrush, brittle and silvered by winter, pushes forth tender shoots, while pasca flowers unfurl violet petals above the lingering frost. Pronghorn herds, lean from the lean months, graze on the first flush of green, their newborn fawns hidden in the tall grass, perfectly still. As spring matures, mountain valleys erupt in a mosaic of wildflowers, lupine, Indian paintbrush and balsam root painting the slopes in vivid hues. Aspen groves shimmer with new leaves, their pale green canopies trembling in the warming breezes. Rivers, swollen with snowmelt, carve deeper channels, carrying nutrients that spark a surge of aquatic life. Cutthroat trout rise to feast on hatching mayflies, while ospreys circle overhead, wings flashing against the broadening sky. Summer ignites the high country. Alpine tundra, exposed above the tree line, transforms into a tapestry of mosses and tiny blooms clinging to thin soil between granite outcrops. Bison and elk migrate to lush mountain pastures, their coats now sleek and glossy. In the wetlands, trumpeter swans shepherd cygnets through stands of cattails, and dragonflies dart in iridescent swarms above mirror-still ponds. The days stretch long and golden, the air scented with pine resin and sun-warmed sage. Come autumn, a hush falls over the land. Aspen leaves turn to molten gold, quaking in the crisp wind before drifting down to carpet the forest floor. Grizzly bears gorge on ripening berries, building reserves for the long winter ahead. Bull elk bugle across the valleys, their calls echoing through stands of crimson willows and yellowing cottonwoods. Flocks of sandhill cranes gather in the fields, their silhouettes stark against the lowering sun, preparing for the long migration south. As winter descends, Wyoming's landscapes are remade once again. Snow cloaks the mountains and plains in silence, smoothing every contour and muffling sound. Lodgepole pines bear the weight of new-fallen snow, branches bending under crystalline burdens. Moose wade through frozen marshes, browsing on willow twigs. Wolves and coyotes leave delicate tracings in the powder, their presence marked only by the fleeting imprint of paws. Beneath the ice, fish move sluggishly, conserving energy in the dark, cold waters. Life persists, hidden and patient, awaiting the return of light. With each passing season, Wyoming's wilderness is reborn, its landscapes, flora and fauna perpetually transformed by the rhythms of nature. In this grand cycle, the land's true character is revealed resilient, ever-changing and alive with the pulse of the wild. Far beyond the reach of roads or trails, Wyoming's most remote wilderness areas remain untouched, vast, silent, and fiercely wild. Here, the land surrenders only to the forces of nature, shaped by eons of wind, water, and stone. Towering ridgelines stretch across the horizon, their granite faces unmarked by human hands, rising above valleys where ancient conifers root deep in thin, stony soil. In these isolated sanctuaries, silence reigns. The only sounds are the whisper of alpine wind through twisted whitebark pine, the distant rumble of a glacier-fed stream tumbling over boulders, and the haunting cry of a golden eagle spiraling above the peaks. In the high country of the Absaroka and Wind River ranges, snowfields linger deep into summer, feeding crystal-clear tarns that mirror the sky's shifting moods. Marmots sun themselves on lichen-crusted rocks, ever watchful for shadows overhead. Mountain goats, sure-footed and ghost-like, navigate precipitous ledges, their white coats blending with lingering snowdrifts. Below, in shadowed cirques, hidden lakes shimmer with a turquoise clarity, untouched except by the occasional ripple of a native trout. The forests here are primeval, stands of spruce and fir crowding steep slopes, their trunks cloaked in moss and old man's beard. Fallen trees, left to decay, nurture a hidden world of fungi and insects, the quiet architects of renewal. In the understory, wildflowers bloom in fleeting profusion. Glacier lilies, columbine, and rare alpine gentians, their petals jeweled with morning dew. As dusk descends, a hush envelops the land. Elk and mule deer move like shadows through the timber, pausing to drink at nameless streams. Far from the valleys below, wolves slip between the trees, their presence sensed but rarely seen, while lynx pad silently along snow-lined game trails, leaving only the faintest impressions in the soft earth. Here, the sky is a vast and unbroken canvas. Clouds build and dissolve in ever-changing patterns, painting the land with shifting light. Thunderheads gather over distant peaks, loosing rain that falls in silver curtains, feeding the pulse of life below. Lightning illuminates the wilderness in stark relief, revealing a land both beautiful and indifferent, governed by its own ancient laws. In these untouched frontiers, nature writes its story without witness or interruption. Every stone, every tree, every creature is part of a tapestry, woven solely by time and the elements. Here, the wild endures, unbroken, unyielding, and profoundly real.